Now, this is where it gets dicey because I'll tell you what Doug Polk does on this 9 of diamonds. He opts to lead. He turns this into a cooler where, well, it's probably not going to go so well for him. Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Little for PokerCoaching.com. Here we have a fun cooler, or at least, well, Doug Polk turned it into a cooler, in this 200-400 high stakes feud. They're playing the Cadillac of Poker, no limit Texas style. Here we have Negreanu raising up with the pocket kings. Doug Polk, 3 bets, 3 with the pocket 7s. Back to Negreanu, he puts in the 4-bet, and Doug Polk calls. You may say, wow, that's a lot of action for only pocket 7s. But turns out, good strong GTO poker from both players pre-flop. Make sure you don't screw up pre-flop by checking out the free downloadable GTO pre-flop charts at pokercoaching.com/HUNL. Flop comes 10 of diamonds, 8 of hearts, 4 of diamonds. Doug Polk checks every hand here. And if you remember back to the previous video that I made on YouTube, make sure you check that out with these two players. Negreanu 3-bet pre-flop and opted to use a bigger bet size, 2/3 pot, on a very similar board. However, this is a 4-bet pot. And when you're playing a 4-bet pot, you often want to be betting frequently and small, even on the somewhat coordinated boards like this 10-8-4, because in this scenario, Negreanu is in pretty great shape, and Doug Polk really should not connect all that well with any board compared to Negreanu's 4-betting range. So this is a spot where he wants to be betting frequently and small, and that is exactly what he does. Take a look at this. We see the GTO strategy here has a 25% pot bet being used 63% of the time, so the majority of the time. Most of the checking is actually coming from pocket 10s for the super nuts, so you really want to keep your opponent in. Some ace, queen, and ace, king type hands that don't really mind checking it down, plus some sporadic low showdown value hands and draws that don't really want to bet and get raised. Again, this strategy is a little bit convoluted because you see tiny, tiny frequencies for all of these bluffs, but that is what good GTO poker looks like. All right, so he does go for the small bet. Polk has a very easy call in this situation. As we see, pocket 7s calls the vast majority of the time. There's usually not a whole lot of raising going on in 4-bet pots, but we do see some hands that don't mind protection going for the raise, and in this scenario, that raise is often all in because the pots are stacks already kind of shallow, so we see a lot of the 10s just ripping it in. And then we also see some sporadic bluffs with overcards, which is kind of cool. I gotta presume these are gonna be flush draws mostly. So, you know, makes sense, jamming with hands that are strong but vulnerable, and then jamming some hands that have reasonable equity. So, nice logical strategy. Both players have played this hand great so far. Now, this is where it gets dicey because I'll tell you what Doug Polk does on this 9 of diamonds. He opts to lead. He turns this into a cooler where, well, it's probably not going to go so well for him. But I want to ask you what you would have done on this turn. Actually sit here, be logical, don't be results-oriented. One thing I've learned from reading the comment section on YouTube is that a lot of people are really results-oriented. They think that just because a play doesn't work out that it must be bad. But that is not how poker or life works. All you can do is make the proper play. So, in this scenario, if you were in Doug Polk's shoes, would you have checked, bet a 3rd pot like Polk does, bet 2/3 pot, or jammed it all in? I want you to pause the video and write it in the comment section below what you would do. Okay, did you do it? Good. If you didn't, shame on you. I'm trying to help you get better at poker. A great way to get better at poker is to actively learn. Get in there, do the work, type it in the comment section. Doing that process over and over and over again, quizzing yourself over and over and over again is going to go a long way to helping you improve your poker skills long term. I actually have over 1,000 interactive quizzes where I ask you what you do on every single betting round at pokercoaching.com. So make sure you check that out at pokercoaching.com/free. So this is a spot where Polk leads, and if we look at the GTO solution, Polk's leading range, which he actually should have one, includes about 14% of his range. So let's take a look at the hands that opt to lead. Notably, pocket 7s does not. Pocket 7s does not lead, but I like that Doug Polk realizes in this scenario, this turn should be very good for him so he does get to lead some portion of the time. So what is he actually leading? Pocket 10s, pocket 9s, pocket 8s for sets. These are hands that are almost certainly best, but they are highly likely to get outdrawn given there are 4 diamonds, or 3 diamonds on the board, right? So this is a spot where those hands are opting to lead. 7-6 for a straight opts to lead. Some top pairs opt to lead. Queen Jack opts to lead. And then some sporadic bluffs. I gotta presume all of these have an ace of diamonds a lot of the time. Maybe these ace jack and ace queen don't. It's like such a tiny frequency, though it's hard to tell. Pocket 4s leads a lot as well. 6-5 leads, 7-6 leads. I gotta presume these are flushes. So we're looking at some ace high and king high flush draws up here with additional straight outs, right, that are opting to lead. And then hands that are very strong but vulnerable to being outdrawn. It turns out hands that are marginal but have equity, like 8-7, pocket 7s, pocket 6s, pocket 5s. Let's see what other hands, like ace 10, right? These are hands that opt to not lead in this scenario. They just decide to check. So this is a spot where Doug Polk does not play the GTO strategy. However, this is not actually that big of an error, so if he is making a mistake here, it's only a small one. Around and down Negreanu, this is a cool spot. Usually you'll find once the pot gets very big, usually that doesn't happen so often in cash games unless it's a 4-bet or 5-bet pot, which we have here, but it does happen in tournaments quite often. When a lot of your money is already in the pot, as it is in this scenario, you just want to go ahead and get your money all in with what is likely the best hand, and that is what Negreanu does. Negreanu's actually played a lot of these spots pretty well, where he's realized, all right, most of my stack is in. I have very good equity. I'm just going to shove my stack in. And if we look at the GTO strategy, that is what he should do with pocket kings that have the diamond in them some portion of the time. Calling's also fine. Notice here pocket queens and pocket jacks really like to shove because they are way more likely to get outdrawn. Think about Doug Polk's leading range again. Remember, it's the very strong hands, but it's also going to be ace high and king high, right, that have the backdoor draws. And it turns out if your opponent has like ace queen here with a diamond, and you're sitting here with pocket jacks or pocket queens, you'd rather just get all the money in immediately than give them a chance to outdraw you and perhaps not even bluff you, right? So we do see a whole lot of continuing in the spot against this small bet, which definitely does get a little bit dicey. That said, Negreanu's range in the spot is pretty strong just because you 4-bet preflop, right? It's just mostly over pairs. Turns out it's not all that hard to continue. We have mostly over pairs and top pairs, right? We do see a lot of calling, though, in this spot. Like, we see ace-jack. If Negreanu has it, calls it every time. King-jack calls every time. King-10, right? Top pair marginal kicker calls every time. We see the slightly weaker kickers raising. I know it's very tiny frequencies, but still worth checking to look at this. Jack-6. These may all be flushes. It's tough to know. Jack-7 for just a straight opts to raise. Actually, these are probably not all flushes, given we see Jack-7 here has roughly the same proportion, right? So if you have a jack, you have to continue against this lead, which feels pretty dirty. But whenever you're getting really good odds, right? Pot odds exist. In this scenario, Negreanu needs to realize about 20% equity. And he probably will if he has a straight draw, right? If he gets a straight, he's probably going to get paid off on the river. So Negreanu does off to shove, and I like the shove. Back around to Doug Polk. Like I said, at this point, it's just a little bit of a cooler. There's not a whole lot he can do in this scenario because, again, pot odds exist, right? He has a straight draw. He has the flush draw. Turns out in this spot, though, he's actually in really bad shape because he's only drawing to the straight. And if the flush card comes that completes the straight, he still loses. So Doug Polk turned this hand into a cooler, and a nice big pot got shipped over to Negreanu. As we see here, whenever you do lead, a lot of calling is happening because you are getting such good pot odds. And remember, whenever you do lead, you're leading with your very good made hands, right, that are happy to call. That's going to be all of these 10s and better, right? 2 pairs, etc. Then some sporadic bluffs. So it actually turns out the 6-5 was a bluff. 7-6 was the flush leading. 6-5 was a stone bluff leading, so that's pretty cool. We do see 7s calling it off when they have the diamond, folding when they don't. Same thing for 6s. 5s, if they did lead, I guess they probably didn't lead with any diamonds to begin with. And we do see the king of diamonds and ace of diamonds. When you lead with those, you have to call it off again because pot odds exist. So, fun, cooler spot. Hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, do me a favor. Click the like and subscribe buttons below. That goes a long way to getting me out of this YouTube cooler. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, and we're almost there thanks to you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for being here. Hope you have a great, great day. Good luck in your games. I wish you nothing but the best. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more strategy lessons, pre-flop charts, and interactive quizzes, make sure you get your free membership to pokercoaching.com right now at pokercoaching.com/free. I'll talk to you next time.